Oh, I think we are. Yes. Hi. Hello, everyone in Trust Vanessa. I just wanted to come on today. I'm actually here in my studio on my big beanbag, which holds about two adults in my studio, right? And this is my meditative space, and that's my view. Okay. So, and over here is my writing space. Okay. So I wanted to come on today because well, a couple of reasons. A, because I owe it to you guys to show up, and I haven't been, and I think I understand why. Oh, hi, Aline. How you doing? I was only thinking of you this morning. How bizarre. And secondly, because I get lots and lots of personal messages, as because I understand this group is very naked and very stripped back, and the idea of what goes on in here, not everybody wants to put their name to. So I really do get that. So, but I haven't been putting in here, hi Eileen, I haven't been putting in here my thoughts in live videos, which I want to do more than typing because I think we relate sometimes more to videos. Thank you. That's taken some work today, I must admit. Because, okay, so here's what I wanted to show up with today. I don't know how often I'm going to show up. I would like to show up every day, but here's what I want to show up with today. How do you process your emotions? Are you even aware that you process your emotions? Okay, so this morning I had a full day out, booked all day. From early this morning, 7:30, I was leaving. I had a whole day booked out with a colleague, and I was going to just spend the day with him and then bring him back this way. And then we were going to go off to London to an event tonight. And it had been planned for a little while, and he's great fun, and we're kind of new to each other, so it was a way of learning whether we could do some work together. I like his style, I like what he stands for, and it just became very apparent there might be some connection and some work to do there. So I'm open to what the universe has to offer me of late, because everything is really quickening up, and I really want to stay as present as I can. I'm on the road. I get all ready. I've even organised my dad to take Liberty to school today, so I could miss a lot of the traffic because it's an hour and a half drive to where he is. And I get all sorted, and it takes a little bit of work to sort myself out for this appointment. And I'm on the road, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. And I get a call saying, I can't make it today. Something else has come up, and I'm really excited, and I'm going to do this instead. And that was it. And obviously the first thing that was going through my head was bloody charming. And then I'm asking you to recognise where you might see yourself in the kind of process that I was going through. Now, the old Vanessa would have been hurt, wounded, pissed off. The dialogue that would have gone around in my head is, well, that's just typical my life. Nobody ever puts me first. Nobody ever chooses me above anything else. Oh God, this just sounds so terrible, doesn't it? This was me a little while ago. Don't people consider other people? Why do they always think about themselves? Oh God, what else would have gone through my head? Because I was aware that these things come up for me, but I'm also now aware of where I do not attach myself to them. So what the point I'm trying to get at is that when we allow our emotions, which come from our thought process, when we allow our emotions to stick to us rather than pass through us, we can go into a flat spin. That would then have affected my mood. I might have snapped at somebody who pulled out in front of me. I might then get funny that people don't reply to my messages. I mean, just anything. It just sends you in a doolally state. Whereas it's still important to go through the process, and I'm asking here to help for us to be aware of what does go on for us. So there was that initial, that's a bit of a pisser really, because, I didn't get to spend that time at Liberty this morning because I'd asked my dad to take her. He offered actually, but that's by the by. And, I was already in the car. I've said no to other appointments today because I had this in the diary for a couple of weeks. There were things I squeezed into my day yesterday and have then squeezed into my weekend because I was out of the office all day today. This was all that was going on, and I thought, even though it's okay for him to choose what he wants to do, it was the fact that it was last minute kind of poked stuff in me. And here's what I want us to be aware of. Whatever happens in the outside world and it triggers you or pokes you or affects you in a way where you go into a negative thought state and process, that, for me, as I understand it with the healing work I'm doing, is it's triggering a core wound. So what I'm asking us to do is to be aware of the thought process and the emotions that come up and how you feel in your body. And if you're starting to feel a bit grumpy or annoyed or frustrated or let down, then that's a negative spiral that, if you are not aware of it, will just go down and down and down and down and down, and you end up in that whole kind of, your mind will then tell you every other time that you've been let down or rejected or have not been chosen first, and that you're not important, and all this shit that just goes on in our heads. The mind will do that habitually. So this is where I'm asking us to recognize what comes up for us and to not stay there. So be aware of it and allow it to pass through you. But then just keep asking questions to allow yourself to go through the process, because it is essential to go through the process. And just because these are negative thoughts and emotions doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they're negative, okay? Or the darker side rather than the positive being the light side, okay? So I just want to be clear on my terminology here. So that just because they're negative doesn't mean that they're bad, okay? So, and it's not good to go there. It's so important to go there, because then you can make a choice from a place of contrast. So because I recognised that this was initially what came up for me, you can then just go the next layer down, and you can think to yourself, right, okay, well, if this is what I'm thinking and I'm aware that it's not true, because I am important, I am special, I'm not being rejected here. He's literally thinking more of himself than he is of me, and quite rightly so. There is then a part of me, as I worked around the process, that maybe it's important for me to recognise how the impact that that decision that he made will then have on the rest of my day if I don't allow myself to go through the process. So here I am driving down the road and I'm turning back round and I'm going through the whole kind of rejection and I'm not important and etc., and all that story. And then as you move through that, you then start to shift your focus onto the other person, and you start to think, well, okay, he's actually chosen to do something for himself, which is good. This is actually his heart's desire, which is brilliant. I wouldn't want him to not do that. What else did I go through? He's allowed to make any decisions that he wants, and he doesn't have to consider me. It's a nice to think that he would consider me, and his messages never said anything about I'm sorry or I hope this doesn't impact your day too much or anything like that. And again, that really just tells me more about where he is, not where I am. All I'm interested in is what's happening to me, what my thought process is, what my emotions are. And here's the other thing. This is where I'm starting to recognize how far I have come. Because the old Vanessa would have gone into that flat spin and it would have affected my day, and I would have got bloody grumpy and I would have procrastinated on stuff because, all my shit that's come up from those thoughts of being unimportant and rejected, my mind is going to throw at me every other time I have felt that way. And it's so important to recognise what comes up for you. And then I find myself going through the whole process and coming right back to, well, fair play. If he's happy, then I'm happy. I did have a thought that maybe it might be, being a good friend, whether it would be worth having a conversation with him to let him know that it did impact my day, that other people had reorganised some stuff to accommodate him coming here, that there were things that I said no to as a result of having this time booked in with him, and he seemingly didn't seem to give it much thought to just say, actually now I'm going to do something else. Is that a conversation I'll have with him? I don't know. I'm not going to ring him up specifically, but if it comes up in conversation, I'd like to think that I would be able to constructively have that conversation with him. The old Vanessa would have avoided confrontation and gone, oh, that's okay. When if it's not okay, it's not okay. And we are allowed to express how we think and feel. Equally, true happiness for me is saying yes when we mean yes and no when we mean no. And I find myself coming back round to actually a place of relief, where in actual fact, if I'm truly honest, a whole day and evening out of the office, and no time really to do stuff for me apart from my qigong and my morning pages this morning. Actually, I'm quite relieved, and I'm grateful now that I have the gift of time and a few hours to be able to chat to you here, to be able to finish some more writing, some more blogs, and get ahead of my goals for the weekend. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise, that this time that I've now been gifted, I can use wisely, and it will free up some time at the weekend. And what happens if something else comes in at the weekend that in hindsight I can look back and go, oh my gosh, that was an absolute blessing, I had Thursday off. My point being is we can either attach ourselves to our emotions or not. We have a choice. I'm suggesting that if we are aware of our emotions and what's going on in our thought process, that you have the choice to go with it. And if it's negative, I'm suggesting we don't go with it, but we can only stop ourselves going with it once we recognize and we become aware that they're the thoughts and the emotions that we're feeling. And of course, our finite bodies is the end manifestation of a thought process. So if you're feeling crap, it means you've had a crap thought. If you don't like feeling crap, if you want to stay there, fine, have a pity party, have a funny 5 minutes, do what you need to do. But if you do not want to go there because you're wise enough to know that, okay, I feel this and I have a choice to go back up the other way, then you just start reaching for a better feeling thought, and then you start finding the blessing and what are you actually grateful for. And the blessing is that I do have that time now until probably about 3 or 4 o'clock to do what I now choose, to free myself up maybe later on in the week, or just to have that time for myself. So are you aware of the thought processes, that the process, how you process your thoughts? Are you actually aware that you're doing it? Because you do it every single moment of every day. You're processing your thoughts and your emotions. But are you aware that is it helpful to you or not helpful? If it's not helpful, do you want to make the choice so that it's helpful, to bring your vibration back up? Because if you can bring your vibration back up, then that's when you are in a better state and your mood elevates, you're happy, you feel calm and relaxed. And here's the other thing about choosing to not attach yourself to your emotions. From my learnings and my understandings, you center yourself more so that whatever goes on around you, good, bad or indifferent, you are not attached to it and it does not affect your life. And that for me is that inner peace feeling. And I think all of us, every single person on the planet, would choose peace over anything else. And to be in that loving, peaceful space from within, to be centered in self, to have the free space then to choose anything that you want for yourself. And when your vibration is elevated and lifted, you are then inviting the same vibration, the same good feelings, the same good people, the same opportunities and circumstances into your space. And that's how you then shift from where you want to be, whether it be relationships or work or health or whatever it might be. But your well-being is about you choosing not to attach yourself to the myriad of emotions that go on for you all the time. Even the good ones, don't attach yourself to them either, because they're not yours to hold on to. It's just something you experience. I just wanted to share that, and if it's been of any help, great. If you've got any questions, fab, please post them in here or message me. If there is anything you want me to cover at all, please just let me know, because the more information I have about what you want from me, what you want from this group, and if I can't provide that for you, I am pretty certain I can find somebody who can provide it for you. Watch this space though, because I've been in contact with a couple of girlfriends and we're going to create some video series to be able to support this group better. But thank you for joining me here in this space in Trust Vanessa today. God bless you. Have an awesome day. Bye bye bye.